Welcome back to HQ. Notre Dame made some changes to its iconic leprechaun logo just in time for football season. Fighting Irish unveiling that football-toting leprechaun on Thursday, the first in a series of sports-specific leprechauns aimed at representing each sport that the university sponsors. You won't see those jerseys week one because Notre Dame is on the road taking on Miami in a ranked-on-ranked matchup, and those new kits will be featured during home games. Quarterback matchup will garner a lot of the talk heading into this game at Hard Rock Stadium on the 31st. Carson back on one side, CJ Carr on the other side. Here's a look at the top 10 matchups week one. Some fantastic ones. It includes Texas and Ohio State, which we talked about with Arch Manning. LSU and Clemson. D tackle number one and Mike Renner's big board and Peter Woods would be on display. And we've highlighted, of course, the one we're going to be talking about, first meeting since 2017 between Notre Dame and Miami. Let's bring in Chip Patterson to talk about this game. Again, first time in a while, but if we go even further back, 1988, Catholics versus Convicts, the 30 for 30, that was fantastic. Chip, what do you remember most about that particular game and sort of the aura and the era of that particular time in college football?
Well, full transparency, some of this I did have to study as I was but a wee child at the time. But I am a student of college football. I adore this sport. And so I'm even going to go further back because in 1985, Miami was on the rise and they were really starting to make some noise. And when they went up against Notre Dame, and what did they do? Beat them 58-7. And it was those kind of beatdowns that Miami was handing out all across the country to all the traditional powers that really started to make clear their arrival in college football. So then, yes, we've got the classic game in 1988. Such a huge year for Notre Dame. Lou Holtz leading that Fighting Irish team, and the identity politics of it all. This Notre Dame established blue blood program against a Miami team that was coming up and embracing the idea of being the bad boys of the sport. So it was just something that whether you were a Notre Dame fan, Miami fan, or sports fan in general, you bought in on it. And Tommy, one of the reasons why I'm so excited about the latest chapter in this rivalry is the fact that Notre Dame, after making the national championship game a year ago, really back is to that point where they expect to be a national championship contender just like they were in 1988.
So I do want to follow up there. I'm going to skip a few lines because you brought up sort of what Notre Dame was able to do. That Northern Illinois game certainly put a sour taste in everybody's mouth, and yet the Fighting Irish were able to rebound and make it all the way to the championship game. So if I were to ask you if any of the pressure has subsided for Marcus Freeman and this program, what would that answer be?
Yes, the pressure has subsided, but the expectations are higher as well. Confidence is in Marcus Freeman as the right guy for the job. That was not necessarily the case heading into the 2024 season. And Tommy, you just think about the way that he got it done in terms of taking out big name coach after big name coach after big name coach. He looked Kirby Smart on the other sideline, took him down. He went toe to toe with James Franklin, took him down. I mean, this is how you rise in the coach rankings. Every single May, we put together our ranking of all the power conference coaches. I don't know if any coach had a bigger rise on my particular ballot than Marcus Freeman, because we did not believe that Marcus Freeman was the big game coach. We remember they had 10 men on the field at the end of that loss to Ohio State. We had a couple of head-scratching losses to Marshall and Stanford the year before the Northern Illinois loss. But the way that he held this team together to run off win after win after win and then take down the big dogs in the college football playoff, I've got no doubts. The Notre Dame faithful have no doubts. Marcus Freeman is the man for the job. He's made them more of a national title contender than Brian Kelly.
If we get to who's slinging it around, it's going to be CJ Carr this year. And we're in an era now, Chip, of course, of a lot of one-and-dones. We're kind of removed from that Ian Book era. You had Riley Leonard, Sam Hartman, Carr now. How do you envision Notre Dame navigating the quarterback situation and Carr specifically entering this season?
I think naming CJ Carr the starter for this big-time opening game against Miami is letting CJ Carr know that you have confidence in the plan that you pitched him when he was a recruit. Lloyd Carr's grandson, #1 player coming out of the state of Michigan. They got him on campus. They signed him to this program by letting him know that they had a future for him to be a multiple-year starting quarterback for the Fighting Irish. And I think that ultimately what ended up deciding what was widely described as a 50-50 competition between him and Kenny Minchie is that arm talent, his ability to stretch the field, and what he can do in terms of creating explosive plays in the passing game. You didn't really have that with Riley Leonard because of his skill set. You didn't really have that with Sam Hartman because you didn't have the wide receivers. But they boosted the talent at wide receiver. And while C.J. Carr didn't win this job right away, reportedly because of some turnover issues and being too aggressive, the way that he performed in the scrimmage over the weekend reassured that Notre Dame offensive brain trust that, yes, we need to go with the higher upside guy, the guy who can push it down the field and create explosive, deep passing plays. That was always going to be C.J. Carr, and that's why he steps into the QB1 role.
So let's get to the U, where it's Carson Beck. They're covering from that elbow transfer from Georgia, taking over for the #1 overall pick in Cameron Ward. So all I'm hearing is Carson Beck stuff coming out of Miami. Is it warranted? Are there any other things that you should be talking about this Hurricane team entering this game?
I think it is the fair #1 topic to look at because of what Cam Ward meant to this offense, creating one of the most explosive offenses in the entire country. Cam Ward's own talent and Carson Beck stepping into those shoes. Totally a fair talking point. But, Tommy, it's because we know so many other places are kind of check marks, right? The offensive line, absolutely loaded. The defensive line, I think, has gotten reinforced and should be really good. And so for Carson Beck, the reason why he is the X factor for this offense is we go back to last season at Georgia. Against top 25 opponents, 7 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Yikes. Against unranked opponents, 21 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. When the competition got tougher, Carson Beck was not able to meet the challenge. And now that he's taking over a team ranked #10 in the country with an opening game like Notre Dame and other, Florida, Florida State, other big time conference games, he's going to play top 25 opponents. I don't think Miami's going to match the numbers that they had with Cam Ward, but Carson Beck, without a doubt, has the tools to be able to have them win as many games as Cam Ward, as long as he can get some help elsewhere.
So there's a lot of hype surrounding this game, one of 3 ranked-unranked matchups here. I would love, Chip, for it to play out like the oddsmakers think it is, which is a field goal game in the mid-20s or higher. How does it all play out for you?
I see this game without a doubt being lower scoring because #1, we are not going to ask C.J. Carr to go out there in a hostile territory, throw the team on his back and be able to go make it happen. And thankfully for C.J. Carr, we've got one of the best running backs in the whole daggum country right there with Jeremiah Love. We've got a loaded offensive line. The most important move that we need to see C.J. Carr do is this one, handoff, because Jeremiah Love's going to keep this clock running. And I think that also for Miami, because they lost not just Cam Ward, but so many important pass catchers off last year's team, it might be more of a ground and pound approach as well. So, yeah, I've got in this particular game Miami getting it done, but it is a low-scoring game and one that really will require both of these defenses to step up and answer the call.
Miami and the under for this August 31st tilt at Hard Rock Stadium. Chip, certainly appreciate it, my man. 1/4 of the Cover 3 podcast with Tom Fornelli, Danny Cannell, and Bud Elliott. It's that time of year, folks. Subscribe, scan the QR code. If you listen to your podcast, you'll watch them on YouTube. Make sure you're following, if you're not already, the Cover 3.